Welcome to Just Men, a life changing program that resonates hope as well as encouragement. The program that gives you information and inspiration for building God's kingdom from the inside out. I'm your host, Jeff Tate, and thank you for joining Just Men. On today's program, we have a very special guest. It's his first time being on Just Men. Please welcome Corey Sanders. Brother Sanders, welcome to Just Men. Man, it's a pleasure for you to be on the program, brother. We behind the scene, we done brought some laughter in here and some joy, but I really want to dive deep into your life, man, in terms of just health and fitness and just, your story, man, as we begin to turn the pages of your book. So let's take a step back to the genesis of your life and share a little bit about who is Corey Sanders.
Well, actually, simple. I was born and raised in Columbus, Mississippi, Southern boy, and actually have a twin. So I am the oldest of three, including my twin, and very athletic family. Very athletic family. My sister got a full ride as a track athlete. She was able to participate in Olympic trials as well. My brother and I, got a full ride Division I for football, and so we was always in athletics. Always very competitive family. My mom and dad kept us rooted and grounded in the church, and man, I just very family oriented. But just growing up, man, my passion was always taking care of the body, and in the sense of this, in the sense of I knew that if I wanted to perform like I wanted to on the field, I needed to be able to put in the work ethic. And I think that kind of work ethic came from my dad. My dad was a blue-collar guy. He owned a small roofing company, and, man, he used to have us in the summer times, man. He has us up there, roofing and doing that work. And at that time, I didn't appreciate it. I get mad and really didn't like doing that type of work or getting up. I'd rather sleep in on the weekends, but he have us up. But now I appreciate it, man. It really paid off and showed me just the value of hard work. And I think that's what really kind of helped me kind of be the guy I am today, through the obstacles that I face, being able to persevere and push through and find my faith in God and continue to help people be their best self. And I think, when people are able to take care of themselves physically, they starting to want to dive deeper into who they really are and what they was created to be. And that goes into like healthy relationally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and so kind of a holistic approach. And so I see this fitness as part of my ministry, as God just kind of helped me for people to see that what they're worth and just who they created to be by taking care of the physical part of the body. And that's me in a nutshell, man. Just born and raised small country boy, and just being instilled those morals, ethics, and values of hard working and faith, and just kind of allowing that to kind of motivate me and move me and through my career and where I am today.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. I know that as an athlete myself, there were many people that shaped my mind and shaped my character and my integrity. And as you talk about work ethics, and really one of the things, of course, they didn't instill was heart. That had to come from a deeper place, right? But they challenged my heart, obviously. But I want to talk to you a little bit about some people in your life, man, that really gave that inspiration to your vision, and how it really catapulted you into the mindset that you are more valuable than what you do, man. Talk to me a little about that, man.
Well, first of all, I would definitely give a lot of credit to my parents. Man, just always create that foundation for us. Very family oriented, always was there, always had good love in the house, and really, just kept us grounded in the Word of God. And we wasn't a perfect family, but we stayed rooted and grounded in who we were in God, man, and kind of, got through things together. Had great coaches. I had them old school coaches.
Yeah. Oh.
Man, them coaches, man, I'll tell you, man, they made you tough. It was like that tough love. It was good, but because it made you really push beyond what you thought you could. And I think I can remember times and times again that, my coach never gave me anything, let me work, even though, I was a guy who was very athletically, I had to prove myself every day. And I think that, that kind of helped me where I'm doing now because, in fitness, man, you just as good as your last class.
Mm-hmm.
You're just as good as your last class. So every day, man, you gotta come in and you gotta suit up and you gotta get in the zone and they're looking for the energy, looking for that motivation. And so, you gotta step into it even though you're not feeling it. And I saw on game day, when those lights come on, it's time to go, baby, And so I really, my parents, my coaches, and my pastor, man, he, just really being able to, help me see what real discipleship was. I think, I heard you talk about the relationship and the religion. I think just really, understanding how to walk with God and that God was never looking for perfection, but persistent. And if you stay with him, he can take you way farther than you could go on your own. And so really understanding who I were in Christ. And I think that was the foundation. But, my parents and my coaches instilling that work ethic and them values in me that allowed me to keep climbing and kept, moving forward, even though obstacles came in my life, never got me down to where I was ready to quit. But I just kept pushing through.
Wow, that's beautiful. I know you mentioned something that's real dear to my heart, and it's called practice. Um, there is, I equate practice to a lifestyle. Many times people wait to the game day
Yeah,
to show up,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And not prepared for what game day is going to bring you, man. But when you have a lifestyle to where you're consistently doing the same thing, you're operating in a spirit of excellence and joy and peace and love, that no matter what happens that moment or that pinnacle of your life, you've been practicing and expecting the greatness because it becomes conditioning. And I know I'm going to hit you on conditioning because I know you and I still talking about conditioning, but I'm setting you up for
Yeah,
all of this, man, in terms of practice, conditioning,
yeah.
and how you apply that in your life and how do you bring or bridge that when you're with your clients? How do you get them to develop not just, hey, come in and a quick fix, hey, I need this worked on, give me that and I'm gone, or no, you got to work at this, you got to work at this, and you get what I call the buy-in. So practice almost has to become a buy-in
Yeah,
because everybody games now. Oh
yeah,
man, I can't wait to the game. Am I gonna get in the game? What? Oh no. Let's make this team get the
yeah,
practice in. So talk to me about just those principles of practice,
yeah,
conditioning,
yeah.
and then buy-in. Those three. Talk to me a little bit about that in terms of your program in health and fitness.
Well, I think it's an ongoing thing. When you meet a client, that's the first thing they want to do is like, I want the result. How long is it going to take? That's it. They want it now. But anything that is worth getting, don't come quick, no matter what it is. I think you appreciate something more when you see, the hours and time it takes to accomplish that which you're going after. And first of all, I'm just a straightforward guy. I just tell them it, and I think they can see the passion, and they can see what I do. I don't really, I'm not a guy who teach and just talk about it, but I live it, and they see not only me talking about it, but they see me doing it, and I'm able to kind of walk the walk and talk the talk. And so first of all, really kind of sitting them down and talking to them about what it's going to take, but also letting them know too that that's grace, that you don't have to be perfect, but if you just keep taking one step at a time, we can get there. And the journey is totally on you. If you want to go faster, put in more time. If you want to start slow, then let's just do a timeline. Let's just figure this thing out together. And when you're ready to speed up, we'll speed up. So really putting the ball in their court. Not really making it about me, but making it about them. And I think they know that. I think one of my good mentors told me that people don't care what you say until they know that you care. And I think people know that I really care about what I do and I care about them. And so every client I'm intentional about, and and they can see that. And so the main thing is just letting them know. It's like how Jesus told the disciples is that consider the cost.
Mm.
If you want to be a disciple, you got to consider the cost. Pick up your cross, deny yourself, follow me. And so they got to consider a cost every single time that what it's going to cost is going to cost them something to be able to be better and be stronger. But they're going to receive more than they lose. And so understanding they know the cost, but also understanding too is that the ball is in their court. But I'm gonna be there to support them, encourage them, and motivate them on their journey. But the health is everything. Is they say health is wealth, but it's literally, if you're not healthy, if you're not really intentional about taking care of your body, man, then sooner or later, then the things that you're trying to fulfill as far as goals or things you want to do within your family kind of come obsolete, And so I think the buy-in comes from them knowing that I care, and them understanding that I'm not a guy who's just after the money. I really care about their goals and them accomplishing those goals, but also too that I'm gonna be there to push them and give them that tough love when it's time to step it up. So I think that's what it comes down to. Most of my clients are pretty consistent because I do try to make sure that my clients are in a healthy place before they take those steps with me, and I think that's important, making sure that clients, sometimes you're not in the right season to start a program. Sometimes you think you're ready, but I've been in it for a while now, so I can talk to a client and I know that maybe they just need another season and to kind of and maybe in that season they need to just start to figure out how can they organize their pantries to start eating a little bit better. Starting to making some changes and slowly starting to come into, because it's a holistic approach. It's not just the physical part of working out, but it's just like, what are you doing when you leave the gym too? And so, so just making sure that they are really serious about it and they are accountable. And I think all that helps with the buy-in.
Wow, that's awesome, brother. I know my wife talks about, she said, intensity. I said, have you went to his course? Nah, it's too intense. I said, I want to talk to you about intensity. But I know Paul says something that's very beautiful in Romans chapter 8. He says, I reckon the suffering of this world is not to be compared to the glory that should be revealed inside of us. And many times it takes it's almost like the eggshell that wants to break open. And the breaking of it being open is not from the outside, but it's from the inside. Yeah. And so many times as your conditioning and the intensity is really to bring out the greatness that some people, it's so buried and in depth and so far in there that it takes more, but it all wants to break out. I mean, God calls it spirit, that he wants, even when we takes his word. His word actually breaks us. Oh, yeah. It's a conditioning. Yeah. So many people think, nah, I'm going to, nah, you come out of the word. When I know if you've been in the word, because what comes out of it when you go in the word is going to be meekness, it's going to be humility, it's going to be love, joy, peace, it's going to be the fruit of the spirit. Yeah. So if you don't have that coming out of you after you've been in the word, then I say you haven't went deep enough. You need to go deeper. If you can go in one way with pain and anger and frustration and unforgiveness and hate, but you ain't gonna come out of that way, man, because it changes you, man. I like what the songwriter Hawkins said. He says, what is this that's gotten hold of me, that moved me to love my enemy, and love my friends? What is this, man? And so what it is the Spirit of God, because when you tap in, it taps in, and it begins to crack the eggshell that you've been carrying around to say, this is who I am. My value is in material things. My worth is in my possessions or in my position or in others' opinions about me. That's my worth. And yet God says, no, son, you're more valuable than all of that. You were great in my eyes before you even done anything because of Christ and what he did at Calvary. So talk to me about intensity. Because, brother, when I met you, man, you had such a passion. And I could hear that intensity and joy. I said, man, put that in a pill and give me that, and forget the workout. Just give me that, man, and then I'll be good. But yeah, I want you to talk a bit about intensity. What does that mean to you, and where do your passion comes from, man, and
Yeah.
how you pour that into your strength and conditioning and so forth.
Well, intensity, man, it's just taking it to another level, raising the bar, and I think if you want to be successful in anything, every now and then you got to raise the bar. That you got to pick up your pace, and quickly what I try to do is, I love the cliche where it says that, if you want to stay warm, stay close to the fire, and my thing about it too is that, when 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 clients come to my classes or when I start to work with them, I just quickly what I try to see is that where their heart's at, where their heart's at, because it's easy to uh, be part of something and just being a part of it for the wrong reason. Uh, what I found out in any group exercise or any community, that if you have a group of people together and they're not in unison and they're not in it for the right reason, the energy of that group starts to kind of die down and people start to leave. The only way you can keep a group growing and moving forward, they all got to be in there for the same reason. The energy, they feeds off each other. So if you got a basket full of apples and it's a rotten apple now, you got to hurry up and get it out, or the good apple's gonna leave. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so what I like to do, I'd rather have 10 people who on fire and ready to go than have 25 or 100 who
Come
just
on.
in there for no reason.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
good.
the intensity of what I do is that I want to make sure that people are bought in and they're in there for the right reason, because if they're in there for the right reason, then we're going to get some work done. Then results are going to happen. Then transformation going to happen. They ready, and so that's where the intensity come from. You just got to be able to pick it up, and if we're going to go somewhere, we're trying to get somewhere, then a month from now, then we got to pick it up again. And a month from now, we got to pick it up again. It never stays the same. It's just like teaching somebody the Bible. You start off in Genesis. by the time you get to Revelation, man, you that's the end of the book. You went a whole
Yeah,
they should have been
right,
great. And
right.
so the Bible talks about being on spiritual milk for a little while, and then you got to start getting on the meat and potatoes.
Yeah,
You see what I'm
brother.
saying? So you can't be on that bottle too long, brother. You gotta
Right.
pick it up.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
good.
that's
That's
that's where
good.
the intensity comes from. It's just like, you know, you know, it's trying to see where people at and see if they're bought in. And obviously it's some different stages there. Everybody that comes to me are not ready to start off and go hard, and some people want to start slow, and I have programs for that as well. But I think my passion comes from, man, just I don't living it,
Mm,
living it, and not just talking about it. If you really live something, it's in you,
mm.
and you can't help but to be passionate about it. It's just like being in the pulpit. If you're preaching about something and you living it and you've really experienced it, man, it's different than just preach. I mean, it's it's in you. You know what I'm saying? Come out of you different. And so I tell all my friends, I said, some people, they know God because they read about him. And then some people know God because they experienced it.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a total different testimony, if you talk to people. And so, my passion comes from living it and seeing what it has done for me, but also seeing what it's done for other people too. And so I think when people see that passion, you know, they understand that you take this very serious, and it changes your relationship with your clients, and I think it changes that it's just not a job or career for me, but it's my ministry, man. It's part of me reaching people for the kingdom. Helping people be better is what I want to do. Whether that's spiritually, physically, emotionally, relationally, whatever, is first start with us being physical beings. That's where the spirit is housed. So we gotta learn how to take care of ourselves, and from that, it allows us to open our minds to who are we in God, and open up conversation that you never would have thought, just by helping people step into this place of physical freedom.
Wow, that's beautiful. How would you describe your program? You mentioned something about And it really gets back to being the temple of God. I mean, the word, Paul writes it in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. He says, know you not that you are the temple of God? He said, don't you know that you're the temple of
Yeah.
God? And in that temple, obviously, is where dominion and power should operate and rule and reign. And many times people are living under circumstances as opposed to over circumstances because of one you talked about aligning the temple up to according to the purpose that God originally designed when he said, let us make man. How would you describe your program? And then how do you mentioned you have a program for this and that. So give me kind of a highlight of what your program consists of, and then how would you, in a nutshell, describe your program and how it differentiates your program from someone else's health and fitness program?
Right. Well, my program is pretty much, my basic program is a program where, first of all, I bring people in and we talk. We just have a basic consultation, and I just talk to them about their life goals, where they want to be, because I feel like, first of all, if I'm gonna be successful at helping somebody, then I need to know their goals, their personal goals, because my goal is not to have them be some type of physical athlete or fitness athlete. My goal is to help them be better physically so they can be better outside of the gym. And so if you're a mom and you're a homemaker, my job is that how can you be a better homemaker? How can you be healthier? How can you be stronger? How can you prepare better food for your family to help them not be diabetic? Or how can you be a role model for your kids to where they know how to eat more of a balanced meal instead of eating, fried food all the time or eating processed food all the time. Just being a good role model. I think that the main thing is that, my consultation is set up to helping you be your best. And it's set up around you. It has nothing to do with me. My goal is that, every person, needs to be stronger, but simply because they have a purpose. Somebody else depend on them, period. And so, whether your family depend on you, whether your job depend on you, somebody's looking up to you, somebody depends on you. And so when you're not at your best, then you're not the best for them, period. And so my goal is to be able to create a program that looks at the holistic approach of a person. And I've actually had times where, I've come in and I prayed over my whole group before we start because people was dealing with stuff that wasn't physical but it's spiritual.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you look at it from a holistic approach, it's like, caring about the person from head to toe, whatever they're dealing with. And it becomes more of a community, just a lifestyle, fitness community, and people know that you got their back no matter what. It don't have to be physical. And they know that I'm not trying to make them into like, some, fitness champions. But my goal is that I'm just trying to make you the best you. And I think that comes to whether you're a 70, 60-year-old who just want to be able to get around and move better around the house or be better for your grandkids, or you want to do more with your grandkids, but right now you're not healthy enough to do that, I have a program for that person. Or if you're just a young college student, you just want to learn how to eat better because you don't want to put on the freshman 10 or the freshman 20. They always say, I don't want to go to college and put up, in my sophomore year, and come back and, I'd have gained 20 pounds. And showing them how to steward what the Lord has given them and be a good steward of what, gluttony, it can be a sin, wanting too much. Because you have the freedom to eat all the time, doesn't mean you have to eat all the time. How can you be disciplined in that, And so, and whether in a home, a mom or a dad, who just want to be active because they want to help their son be more active, but also too, maybe they want us be able to do more with their son as far as recreational sports. I know a lot of dads that I talk to in my gym, their sons don't want to do what you call a typical sport as far as playing for a school system, but their sons just like to go out and be able to bike a little bit or go out and throw the ball a little bit or play some, just do stuff around the house or in the yard, and being able to be a father who's knowledgeable and being able to understand, because with my fitness background, teaching them just, just the basic fundamentals of sports and how to use that to build leadership character, how to use that to overcome adversity. And so, anything, any program to be able to just help a person to be better, just to step into just a new version of themselves. I think every day, it's like, the Bible talks about a continual redemption, that every day we're becoming new, that is something to get that you just never arrive. The Lord is depth, and if you want to dive deeper, you can dive deeper. And I think every day, if we look at it, we can be better. The goal is, do we want better? Do we want better? And I think that it has to be somebody in your corner that's pushing you and wanting you to be better, because you ain't gonna do it by yourself. Every now and then, no matter how passionate I am, no matter how motivated I am, I still need somebody in my corner and say, all right, Corey, it's time to step it up. Hey, it's a new year, let's go. And so we all need somebody. We need that cheerleader, we need that motivator, we need that push, we need that coach, because if not, we can get complacent real fast and we can arrive. You never want to arrive. You always want to keep moving.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. One of the things that I enjoy about your presence is your presence. Undivided attention.
Yeah.
It's empowering, it's inspiring, it's motivating, it's life-changing, it's transforming. That's what God does with us.
Yeah.
He's so in love with us, brother, that he gives us undivided attention.
Yeah.
Many times just through a whisper.
Yeah.
One of the whispers that I hear so often is to be still and know that I'm God. Brother, you have blessed us beyond measure, man. I got to give you the last word of encouragement, man. Give us a word, brother.
Well, I would say to anybody, from, a college student to a grandparent, God gave us one life to live. And he created a beautiful earth for us to enjoy. And I think that sometimes that we can live life and be complacent and not really step into or experience all that God has for us because we're just not surrounded by the right people. I think every now and then you got to be able to be around somebody who's passionate about life, passionate, motivated about living their best life, in the sense of, like, what is it that God has called you into and how can you get there? And it's just like being a life coach, being a health coach, a fitness coach, whatever you want to call it, is helping people see their potential and then go after it. And I think that's what life is all about, is because Jesus said that, when he created disciples, he wanted them to go out into the world, to all nations. And don't just stop, but let's go, And so I think, in just a nutshell, is that, every day you wake up, be thankful, be grateful that God has given you that day, and say, Lord, whatever you want me to do, the strength you've given me, I'm going to make the most of it.
Wow, that's awesome. Stay focused. Brother.